Aloha. What does it take to become world champion? And what is needed to repeat? And now the most important, what can you take out of that? And how can you profit of what I had to learn? I am Natascha Badmann, 10 times world champion. And it is my pleasure to be here today and to give you some of the secret ingredients of success. So you may wonder, what is the most important thing to be successful? Let's have a look at the magic formula of this recipe. If we have the pillars of success, what do you think is the most important of it? You may have an idea of some of them, and let's start with the first one. The first one is the training. Do you think to become world champion, a perfectly trained body, the best physical capacity, the best workouts are important? Or might it be something else? Is it that I need the perfect nutrition, the perfect drink? Is this the magic formula to give me wings on my specific day? Or is there probably a best equipment that I need? Does it matter if I go and race with a regular bike? Or is it very important that I have the fastest, most aerodynamic material and that I maybe use not oil on my chain, that I maybe use wax to just save a little bit of energy and have a few watts more? Or is it the mental? Is it the psyche that is crucial? Look at these 4 pillars. We're going to do some mathematics now. As you can see, all of these pillars are full with gold. Golden, yellow full, and they have, because they are 4, they have the maximum number of 4. So what's going to happen if I multiply all these pillars? So it's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Gives us a result, which I say that's the roof, and the result is 265, which is equal like 100%. So the maximum that I can have, the roof of my success, is 100%. And what I want to say with 100%, I do have 100%, you have them, and you have them. You have them once. This 100% is like time. If I'm standing here and I count 21, 22, 23, these are 3 seconds. They're gone, they never come back. So it's a little bit the same thing with energy. Once energy is used, it takes time, it will come back. But it takes time to have it again. So when you achieve to have 100% of energy, how can it look in my case? What can happen if I'm capable to save that energy to the best and to multiply and to have a peak performance? This I can show you the best with the first video from my induction into the Hall of Fame. Please enjoy.
Natascha Badmann, the first time we met her, she was over in Switzerland dominating this great event called the Powerman Duathlon. which was a long-distance duathlon, and she was a dominant athlete over there. And she came over in 1996, was her first time at the Ironman World Championship, and it was her first Ironman. And she's leading the race for pretty much most of the day. And it was actually the last win of Paula Newby-Frazier's career. Paula caught her during the run, and they ran together, and then Paula got away and ended up winning her 8th and final World Championship title. Well, Natasha went on from there to win 6 of her own after that. And what I loved about Natasha, I think what really summed her up, for years, she was not a good swimmer, an amazing cyclist. She would ride by everybody. And the run was more of a parade lap where she was kissing babies and waving to everybody because she won by so much. So 6 titles in all. And the last win that she had, when she won in 2005, she beat a woman named McKeely Jones, Olympic silver medalist, one of the best ever to race. And Natasha was used to winning off the front. She dominated the bike. Well, that day, she didn't dominate the bike. McKeely Jones led off the bike. And McKeely led deep into the marathon, 18 miles in the marathon, and Natasha did something that people didn't expect her to do. She won the race during the marathon. I love it when athletes show the versatility and show they can win in a variety of ways. Natasha's impact on the race is the fact people realized through Natasha that your career doesn't have to end as a pro when you're 36, 37, 38. She was still a pro when she was in her 50s and still winning. The other one was to enjoy every minute. I think you could tell that she loved being in the spotlight. She loved the racing. She loved the big island, Hawaii, and everywhere she went, people were drawn to her because they felt like they knew her. She never hesitated to say how much she loved the sport and how much she wanted to give back and get other people into the sport. That to me is part of her legacy is, I love this sport, I'm great at this sport, but I'm going to keep doing this sport no matter what.
Thank you. These were moments, highest moments. They last. I remember them for the rest of my life. But as you know, life is not always moments like this. How life happens, there are not only good moments. And myself, I also have experienced very low moments. After 18 years of racing and over 30 international medals, it happened to me that I crashed at the World Championship in Hawaii. I was laying on the floor, on the hot asphalt, and believe it or not, I couldn't get up anymore. My bike has only 6 kilos. My bike was on me, and I couldn't get up from the hot floor. So there I was, at the lowest point of my career, crying on the asphalt, and I couldn't move. And 2 months prior, I had been in world record shape. I broke the world record. And at that moment, I couldn't even get up. So what happened? I crashed. I broke both of my shoulders. And the diagnosis was very sad. They said to me, I could never race again. I could be happy if in daily life I can put 1 kilo of sugar back in the shelf, but I never would be able to swim again. So this moment, believe me, this moment when I woke up after the surgery, there was a nice nurse, and she said to me, look, I put you the pillow at the right place, I leave you now alone, and if you need something, you just ring the bell that hung up here. And I was there with my 2 arms. So she realized it, gave me the bell down. I was laying there, she left the room, and I simply started crying because I thought I lost everything. But after a few moments of crying, I realized that I cannot even take away my tears. So I thought, it's enough of self-pity now. It's time to start and to be thankful again, to be thankful of what all I have. And so I turned it around, because we know there are always low points. There are low points in an athletic life, in a personal life, and there can be low points in a business life. What is then the thing to do? There are two options. Either you give up, either I gave up and said, hey, I had a great athletic career. I won over 30 medals. I can lay back now and enjoy what I have. Or there is the other option is you get up and you start fighting. You start fighting for every little bit. And giving up was no option for me. Also, let's have a look at my magic formula. My magic formula had a 0. First pillar, empty. My body was 0. Also, the other pillars were full. What happens with a formula if it consists 1 0? The whole result is a 0. So I realized that I do not want to live a life with a 0. I want to have the joy back, the joy of racing, the joy of going to the limit, the joy of feeling my breath again. And then there was a very important question. The question was, am I ready to pay that bill? Am I ready to give what's needed to come back? This means hours of rehab, hours of training. It means also that the biggest competitor, my own fears, that I have to work with them and that I have to overcome my own doubts all the time. Doctors said it will never be able to swim. I said, all right, if they tell I can't, I just do it in my mind. I close my eyes and I visualize how I get up my arm and how I swim again. I started to imagine how I will swim again in the beautiful waters of Hawaii. I saw the fishes in different colors while I had my eyes closed. And this imagination was very strong and helped me a lot on my progress on my way back. I knew also in this situation, like you all may face once in a life, is it private or is it in business? But you always know that the competition that's going on is in between my 2 ears. It is controlling my thoughts. If I think, or if I would have thought, I never will be able to go back, it would have been the result. Most of the time, you get what you really want. Sometimes if you have body-wise injuries that are not capable, it might not happen. But otherwise, I found out that my mental, that my psyche is very, very important. Actually, the first time, thank goodness I had a great life and a great athletic career before. The first time I really found out how strong my psyche is was when I raced my first Ironman World Championship in Kona. I went there, and believe it or not, but back then we did not have Google. I couldn't take my phone and check out where Kona is. I had to take the atlas, and I had to take my imagination and think about how it might be in Hawaii. So when I arrived there, I found an open airport. It was 8 o'clock at night, it was dark, and a warm breeze came and said, aloha. And I felt home. I felt like this must be a magic place when the sun is out. So I started the race, and I raced like I did in Switzerland. I swam as fast as I could, I cycled, as fast as I could, and it was brutal hot. To cool down, I was pouring water over me, and I was cycling with wet shoes for 5 hours. I came to the transition zone. I was putting on my shoes, took my wings drink, and was running off. So, do you know what happened? I swam an hour, I cycled 5 hours, and I had, at that point, wet feet for 6 hours. So my feet, after 2 Ks, they realized, all right, we got a blister here. And so I had my first blisters after 2 Ks. And as you heard before, a marathon is 42 Ks. So I trained some mental training. I knew that it's not good to focus on pain. So I was walking a little bit more, pushing off with the left leg, thinking it takes away the pain from the right foot. In my head, it started a conversation because what I named today the angel and the devil voice. So the devil voice said, "Oh, you poor girl, having blister and it's so far to go. You better stop." I'm sure some of you heard that voice too. But thankfully, I had the other voice that said, "Try to go on. You're in Hawaii. You always dreamed to race here." So I kept on going, had a second blister, of course, on my other foot, kept on going. Meanwhile, the 2 voices in my head started be stronger than the other. I came to K7 of the marathon, and I was running by in front of my hotel. So can you imagine that the devil voice was quite strongly in that moment telling me, "Come in, lay down, all your friends will understand. You traveled around the whole world, and you're in such a good position. So everybody understands. You cannot run. It's still 35 Ks. You cannot run as long with blisters on your feet. That hurts too much." So then, the real impressive thing happened to me. I stopped listening to that voice. I only listened to the other voice. I looked at the nice flowers. I decided to look at the ocean when the waves came and splashed up. I looked at the asphalt and the sun that was reflecting. I enjoyed every flower alongside the road. And believe it or not, but there was no more pain. Unless I crossed the finish line and someone said, "Oh, Natasha, your shoes are red. You must have something going on." From the moment I saw red, it made in my head, tick. I knew red is blood, blood is pain, and I couldn't walk anymore. Looking back, this was a magical point. This was so intense to realize that it's my own brain that tells me what I feel. And what I want to pass on is, it's always your thought. And you're always right, but it's also your choice. You decide if it's a good one or a bad one. You decide which voice you're going to listen to. So, what happened? To me, my career was never easy. I was athlete 24 hours a day, but it was always work. Some athletes, they're just lucky, they don't have to train, they think. But for me, I had to train for every little bit. And I knew that it's always work when I want to become better. And I knew I can become better when I do it seriously. So discipline was one of the magic words. Every day after training, I asked myself, what was good today? What can I do better tomorrow? What did I learn? So this sounds like there are 3 questions you can have every day, and you can ask yourself, or you just don't do it. But when you do it, you realize that after 1 year, you have a whole book of little notes that make you to come better every day. For me, this picture symbolized what happened 5 years after my crash. Also, the doctor said, never ever you will be able to race again. 5 years later, I did it again. I won my next Ironman race. I swam 3.8 with 2 broken shoulders. I biked 180 Ks, and I ran 42 Ks. And the success feeling, this feeling of joy, of pure joy, of happiness that is so deep that I wanted to share it with the whole world. I still have it today, and I want to inspire and pass it on because it's such a wonderful feeling and it keeps me smiling. Of course, to achieve something like that, it takes a team. I was lucky that I had people believing in me, even when I was all the way down on the floor and I couldn't move. Not everybody is so lucky, but I had the big holding back that I knew someone is standing behind me and keeps me and gives me wings also when I'm not well. I had doubts sometimes. I really had doubts, and I think this is very normal. But to fight and to see the good when it's least easy, this is what it comes up to. It certainly was my key. It takes a few seconds to load, but let's share this last video with you. It's the competitor awards that I won in Hawaii when I was able to win my 3rd title after the Ironman in Kona.
A lot about who you are in the Ironman World Championship is on your resume. The women's leader, Nina Kraft of Germany, has an Ironman Europe Championship on hers, so she bears watching. But Natascha Badmann is closing fast and then blowing right by. A debilitating move because of how strong she looks. And it's not because she stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. She's done this before.
When I come down Ali Drive, this happiness was very deep. I wanted to share it with everyone that was here, and this is also a feeling that never goes away. It stays for a whole life. I never have been on a level that I am right now. I enjoy what I'm doing, and that is why I can smile through the whole race.
That smile is back. Natascha Badmann is about to become only the 3rd woman to repeat as champion. And with 3 titles in 4 years, this is clearly the era of Natascha Badmann from Switzerland. Natascha Badmann, only the 2nd woman to be able to say that she's won 3 Ironman World Championships. She lives in an old farmhouse in a small Swiss village you've seen on a postcard somewhere. She comes from that place with the most infectious enthusiasm. Natascha Badmann is celebrating like it was a first time.
I thought last year it was the toughest day, but today definitely was harder. And now, when I was on the course, I lost 2 miles and I realized, geez, I did it.
Natascha Badmann wins for a 3rd time.
Thank you. As you saw, I had high and low. And if you now ask me, would you do it again? Would you do it again these weeks, these months, where you only had eat, sleep, and train? Where you had that horrible accident? I would say yes, I take it all again, I would do it the same. Because these feelings is what stay and what fulfill and what are the best I ever had. Thank you very much. I wish the same to you.